You stopped trying long before you ever walked away. Your silence began as a whisper, but he only heard the noise after it was gone. He did not see the quiet ways you began to fold yourself smaller. He just felt the distance once your softness no longer reached him. If these words already ache somewhere inside you, stay here a little longer. You do not have to explain what you feel, I already understand. Subscribe and keep this space close. Your heart deserves to be seen, even in silence. You used to wait for him to notice the small things. The pause before you answered. The way your messages lost warmth not because you stopped caring but because you grew tired of being the only one who did. You still smiled when he came close, but your heart was already half turned away, quietly hoping he would sense it before it was too late. There were days when you sat beside him laughing at things you could not feel anymore. Days when your eyes met and instead of spark there was stillness. A calm you could not name, only feel. He thought everything was fine. You were still there, still gentle, still kind. But your energy had changed. The love that once reached for him began to retreat into the safety of your own quiet. You did not leave suddenly. You just stopped explaining yourself. Stopped hoping he would understand the tone behind your, "I am fine." Stopped stretching your heart to fill the silence he left unspoken. And he, so sure of your forever, did not notice the small ways your affection was fading, until one day he finally did. He felt the space you left. The way your presence no longer waited for his attention. He felt the weight of the calm you carried, that heavy kind of peace that comes only after you stop trying to be understood. That is when he noticed you. Not because you were louder, but because you had gone quiet in a way he could not reach. He started asking questions he once ignored. Are you okay? Why do you seem distant? But by then, your heart had already learned how to live without his answers. You still cared, but caring no longer meant waiting. You loved him still, but love no longer meant staying small. There is a kind of sadness in being noticed too late. A grief that has no clear beginning because it builds slowly. In every moment you were not seen. You begin to understand that love is not proven by the chase that happens after loss. It is proven in the attention that exists before it. You remember the nights when you waited for him to feel your fading warmth. When you hoped he would ask, "What is wrong?" Not out of guilt but out of genuine care. When you wanted him to sense your silence the way you always sensed his moods. But he did not. He kept believing your strength meant you did not need him. And so, you became stronger not by choice but by necessity. He noticed you only when you stopped orbiting around his world. When your energy no longer bent itself to make him comfortable. When your heart began to speak to itself instead of calling out for him. That was the moment he realized what he had lost. Not your presence but your devotion. You see, men often feel loss in reverse. They do not recognize your love when it is overflowing, only when it has already begun to dry. They feel your absence like a missing heartbeat, only after they have grown used to your rhythm. It is not cruelty, it is blindness. A blindness born from comfort, from knowing you would always be there. You tried to tell him in 1,000 unspoken ways. Through shorter replies. Through longer silences. Through the quiet exhaustion in your eyes that said, "Please notice me before I disappear." But love that depends on reminders is not love that lasts. You were asking for awareness, not attention. And he did not understand the difference. The truth is, you never stopped loving him. You just stopped offering your love where it was not received. Your pull away was not punishment. It was protection. It was your soul choosing peace over constant confusion. It was the moment your heart whispered, "I have done enough." He felt you pull away, and for the first time he looked up. He saw you not as the girl who waited, but as the woman who no longer would. He saw the calm in your eyes that used to seek reassurance but now held quiet certainty. He realized that your distance was not about anger. It was about closure. And that frightened him more than your silence ever could. Because when a woman's peace replaces her need to be understood, something sacred shifts. You stopped chasing clarity and became it. You stopped explaining your worth and started embodying it. You stopped holding on to potential and accepted the truth, that love without awareness is loneliness disguised as partnership. There is beauty in what you learned even through the ache. You discovered that being noticed is not the same as being valued. That attention gained through absence cannot heal the wounds caused by neglect. That you do not have to lose yourself for someone to finally realize what you meant. He may try to reach out now. He may remember the softness of your voice, the way your laughter filled the spaces he took for granted. He may wonder why it feels so quiet without you. But you are not the same woman he once overlooked. Your silence no longer asks for understanding. It speaks of healing. You might still think of him sometimes, not with bitterness but with a quiet sigh. Because deep down you know he did not mean to hurt you. He just did not know how to see you until you were gone. And now you see yourself more clearly than ever before. There is a strange peace that comes after exhaustion. The kind where your heart no longer argues with reality. Where you stop replaying conversations, stop wishing he would text, stop wondering what you did wrong. You realize that you were not too quiet, too emotional, or too much, you were just unheard. And being unheard does not make your voice less soft. It makes your silence more powerful. You begin to find comfort in your own company again. In slow mornings where no one demands your energy. In long walks where your thoughts breathe without interruption. You start to notice the small things again. The way sunlight moves through the curtains, the way your coffee tastes when you are not distracted. Feels strange at first, this peace. But soon it begins to feel like home. Your heart still remembers him, but not with longing. It remembers him the way the ocean remembers the shore. As something once close, now gently distant. You can miss someone and still choose yourself. You can love someone and still let go. You can walk away and still carry compassion. One day he will think of you. The way you once sat quietly beside him, the warmth you brought into his chaos. He will wish he had listened more closely when your tone softened. He will wish he had looked deeper when your eyes began to drift. But by then, you will have found peace too sacred to reopen what once closed so painfully. And that is how it ends, not with anger, not with regret, but with calm acceptance. The kind that comes from knowing you gave your heart fully, honestly, and gently. And when it was no longer seen, you took it back, not as revenge but as rebirth. You are no longer the girl who waits to be noticed. You are the woman who notices herself first. You understand now that love is not proven by how deeply someone misses you after you are gone, but by how tenderly they hold you while you are still there. He felt you pull away, yes. But more importantly, you finally felt yourself return. And that is the moment your healing truly began. You can rest now, you were never invisible. You were simply standing in a love that could not see clearly enough to deserve your light.